Historians and justice centers have now filed amicus briefs in support of MRT's position. But the irony of a black elected official who for more than 3 decades represented the best interests of his black constituents having black women voters struck from his jury pool is repugnant and morally wrong. So much for being judged by a jury of your peers. MRT's legal team argues correctly in its filing that given well-established law and legal principles set forth by the Supreme Court, Ninth Circuit, and state courts and legislatures, the Ninth Circuit should likewise reaffirm and clearly state that applying facially neutral justifications in discriminatory ways to target black women and other protected groups presumptively violates Batson. I couldn't agree more. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your comments.
Welcome in. Happy Monday. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope you had a good weekend. Happy March. We are almost at the point where the time will spring forward. I am looking forward to that. More daylight, long days, short nights, and all of that good stuff. But in the meantime, you are locked into the show where we kick off all the headlines and trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I hope you are settled in and ready to get into these topics tonight. Let me give you a rundown of what we're going to explore. Always on theme, Andy, of course, was just playing a little Jamie Foxx ditty there. And we're going to be talking Jamie Foxx. He popped out yesterday at the AFCA Honors. That is the African American Film Critics Association, where they honored Datari Turner, and some others. And in it, he shared some information about when he plans to give the details of his medical emergency that happened last year and how he plans to do it. So we're going to talk about that and hear what he had to say. In hour 2, we're going to talk actress and lifestyle guru Gwyneth Paltrow. She believes that white women have a lot to learn about self-esteem from black women. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And is it always good that black women are always known as everybody's magical support system? We're going to get into a little bit of that. In the third hour, we're going to talk a little bit about Usher. He is coming off of a high and is currently on vacation in Bali. But a lot of people on social media are upset that he is spending that vacation with Russell Simmons. So we're going to get into that and why some people are a little disturbed and perturbed by his activities and talk about, is it fair? So before we get into all of that, I'd like to start the night off with a few conversation starters. These are things, topics that we don't have time to get into the full story, but of course you need to be aware. So first up, shout out to LeBron James, who has become the first person ever to score 40,000 points in the NBA. He did the feat on Saturday night when the Lakers played the Denver Nuggets. However, has continued to be a theme this season, like when Kobe statues were unveiled. And I think even when LeBron broke Kareem's record last season, the Lakers lost. So I don't know what it is about special occasions, but they are not showing up, I guess we got to look forward to the play-in. At any rate, still kind of in basketball news, everybody's getting a statue nowadays, and the latest one to be announced is Allen Iverson. The 76ers are putting a sculpture in for AI, and it's going to be unveiled on April 12th. He deserves one. He set Philly up in the 90s and 2000s, obviously a culture shifter for the NBA and outside of it. So curious to see what his is going to look like and how tight they get the braids, if it has a pattern. What's going on with that, Andy?
Does he really deserve a statue?
Okay, so I see your point because
where the rings at?
There were no rings. That he did take them to the finals. He did shift the culture, though. He did carry the torch for Philly. So in the grand scheme of things, probably not. But that is the wave now, to give people a full-on experience when they go to the arenas. And part of that now is a statue. Dwayne Wade has a statue down in Miami. We, of course, have statue Plaza, I believe it's referred to in some form or fashion, at Staples or Crypto. So, yeah, he deserves a statue. Jordan started it all, obviously.
I mean, could they at least retire his jersey before they give him a statue?
They've retired his jersey, haven't they?
They have not retired Allen Iverson.
They haven't retired his jersey?
I mean, I'm going to have to double check, but I don't remember any form of ceremony of his jersey being retired.
Really?
I'm gonna go ahead and do some research, but I'd like to think that I got my finger on the pulse, and I do not recall any type of jersey retirement ceremony coming from Allen Iverson. But congratulations, I get it. He definitely was a culture shifter, but I think it's starting to get a little bit out of hand now.
I mean, it is. It doesn't mean as much, but it's a nice gesture. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing us into fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. One thing I forgot to mention when we were discussing LeBron that I think is kind of fascinating. So we know he's the first player in the NBA ever to reach 40,000 points, but he scored 10,000 points in almost the exact number of games from his first 10,000 to each of the 10,000 in between. So it took him 368 games to reach that first 10,000. And it took him exactly 368 games to go from 30 to 40,000. In between there, he averaged between 350 and 380 games for every 10,000 points. So very efficient. Not something I believe that we will see done again. Probably not in our lifetime. I mean, there's always, those random freak of natures that come about like him, but they would really have to be Iron Man, playing every game. I don't know if postseason counts into the points or not. I know preseason doesn't, but I'm not sure where postseason figures into that. But just, a remarkable feat, and I hope the Lakers can do something. Also, we saw video over the weekend of Rihanna performing at a billionaire family's wedding in India, I believe it was. And people were kind of downing her performance when they saw the video. They felt it looked a little lazy, but I don't know what people are expecting. Rihanna has never been a 1-2 hit it choreography girl. She's going to give you a cute little twerk and keep it moving. And now, I mean, she has a multi-million-dollar corporation in Fenty. Like, why bother? So I think they said she got paid $9 million for the performance really quickly. And it also was mentioned, I'm not sure if this is true or not, have to confirm it, but that the family is involved in in the overall Sephora deal in India, some type of ownership. And Fenty has just launched in Sephora, India. So it's also, a business negotiation thing. So $9 million to get your 1-2 on and push your cosmetic brand. I'm not mad at that. And we're actually a couple news. Lupita Nyong'o, she recently celebrated her 41st birthday. And for the past few months, people have been wondering if she and Joshua Jackson were just good friends or if they were actually dating. Well, they were spotted in Mexico, and basically it's 5 months and they're kind of, ready to make that move and go official. As we know, Joshua recently got divorced from actress Jodie Turner-Smith, and Lupita recently broke up with writer Sal Medeska. Believe it, Sal Maleska. And so, they're single. May seem quick, but they might have been able to bond over the old relationships falling by the wayside, and they're ready to step out and show off their love. So congratulations to them. All right, let's get into this Jamie Foxx story. So the AFCA honors took place on Sunday, yesterday, at the Hollywood Athletic Club in downtown LA. And Jamie Foxx and his production partner, Datari Turner, were honored, amongst others. Megan Good and Jonathan Majors hit the carpet together, peeking out. They are let everyone know that they're very much happy and in love. Nia Long was in attendance, Courtney B. Vance, a few others. And Jamie accepted, I think it was a Trailblazers Award for his production work. And in it, he talked about that he is going to explain and discuss exactly what happened with his medical condition, but that it's not going to be in an ordinary way, that he is going to return to the stage to do it and set it up. And we haven't seen Jamie Foxx comedian in quite some time. I remember I interviewed him maybe 10 years ago, and I asked him if he was ever going to hit the comedy stage again. And he said he didn't know if people were ready for it. Well, I guess maybe now he feels like he has something to talk about, and he is going to be showing up on stage to discuss that incident. Also, he revealed that, and we talked about this earlier on RSVP, he heard you guys calling him a clone, and he says he knew the exact moment when you guys were certain that it was actually him and not a clone. And we're going to hear it.
On stage, when I tell you, I'll go back to the stand-up sort of roots, but I'll tell you in my way, it'll be called What Happened Was. And it's got all the things that happens, especially on our side, on our community, being cloned and all kinds of shit. They come up with anything. Clone, he's a clone. And even when they saw me out, that ain't no baby, that's a clone. I'm on the boat, like, that's a clone. I dove out of a car to save this black woman's purse. And I'm taking a picture that ain't no damn Jamie, that's a clone. Then they saw me with a white girl. That's Jamie. You know, you love them white. I was like, come on, man. That's why I didn't think I was going to get this award. I said, am I black enough to do it?
So Jamie hears you, he sees you, he knows how you feel about him dating the white women, and he's going to talk about it again. He always makes reference to it. I appreciate that he doesn't dodge it like some others, that he, tackles it head on, knows what is said about him, but also in that same breath, never says anything to disparage black women, never says, I like them because black women do this. And I feel that that is why people let Jamie rock, because he is not ignorant to some of the things that it can signal when a man exclusively dates outside of his race, or at least what it appears to signal to black women. But he also is not disrespectful in it. And you can do nothing but be appreciative of that stance and the honesty, respect his choice, and keep that thing moving. And I respect that so much more than how some of the others handle it. And again, I understand it's a delicate road because who you love is completely your choice. And it really isn't of concern to anybody else. But we have seen in the past conversations that were negative around black women and some of the things that are extended out. And so, black women took their power back as fans, and people are very much aware of that, so they proceed with caution. But I appreciate Jamie for just being honest and open about it and addressing it head on. And I am curious to see what he comes to stage with and what he reveals about the condition, because it was pretty dire and drastic. At one point they said that he was practically on death's door, and then now he's back. And so he did talk about the fragility of life when discussing the incident, and so I'm curious as to what he has to say about it. Pretty Brown Mimi says, rebound love for Lupita and Joshua. They better be careful. And she also says, why doesn't Jamie Foxx bring the white woman on the red carpet? We don't care. I think, well, one, we kind of don't care, but we kind of do. You know, like we may not mind, but we're certainly going to comment. At least some will. That's just it. But I feel as though for the majority of his career, he has not been the type, no matter his relationship, to hit the red carpet or really be out and about with the women in his relationship. And that's probably by design because, of his choices. I'm sure that they evolved. I don't know if they started out firmly that way when he was here, but I think that he has made it a point to kind of keep that part separate. He discusses it a little bit. When he released his memoir a couple of years ago, he talked about it a bit more, but for the most part, he doesn't speak on his love life or his relationships at all. So, it's keep that same energy. He doesn't show any of them, no matter who they are. We know allegedly that there were some rumors about an agreement Katie Holmes had in her relationship, actually from her marriage, that extended his relationship, but that, whatever their situation was with that, also was something that neither one of them spoke about publicly. And, they just kept that thing moving. So I can't be mad at that. Shout out to Jamie. I always have an appreciation for him and what he does and how he does it. So, good luck. At any rate, listen, I wonder, kind of along the lines in dating and whatever, as we are in this social media era, and we know that we've had power couples and we know relationships can build it up, but are people tiring of the relationship drama? Sometimes I think yes, sometimes I think not really. So I think it works for Jamie though because it's been consistent. He also announced that he and his daughter will be returning to Beat Shazam, the show that is on Fox that they produce, the music show. So, he's ready to step back in. Okay, so shout out to Michelle Williams. I don't know. Is she formerly of Destiny's Child? Is she still current? I don't know how they term that. They just not active at the moment. But Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child, she's in a new Uber commercial, and the whole theme of it is that the joke is no one recognizes her. And so the whole thing is about how she is in one of the most iconic girl groups of all time, but no one recognizes her. And they go through all of these things. Well, Michelle said that when she received the script, she hollered and she knows that she's loved. She said there was a time when she didn't always feel that way and that she's human. When you don't live for the applause of man, you can truly live in peace. And that she does believe that she was sent on this earth to make a positive impact in the lives of others. And she said it took her some time to realize that that was her life's mission. But now that she knows, she can laugh at what used to hurt her feelings back in the day. Excuse me. And so I'm glad that Michelle can laugh about it. And I mean, she's very, very rich. So that's another good thing. But I think people do forget, especially in the social media era, that these are real people and that your thoughts don't just live in a bubble now. You're making them on sites, on social media areas where tons of people can read it, including those individuals. And I think as much as some people get off on that, it kind of desensitized, and we don't, even though the celebrities are more touchable, they also seem less human in some ways than before, which seems kind of weird, or at least devoid of feelings. Like, maybe because we've been exposed to so many attention schemes and so forth, people just are used to treating everyone as a commodity, and that they, don't matter and aren't sensitive to the comments and so forth. Pretty Brown Mimi says, yes, I'm tired of it as far as relationships and celebrities. If I hear one more thing about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, well, it's the off season, you know. So Taylor's also, I think, wrapping up her tour. So we may not hear as much about them, but there's always a new it couple, a new celebrity wave, or somebody out there vying for our attention. That is where we are. And it is shown that that is where we give our attention to. Excuse me. Pretty Brown Mimi also says, I love Michelle Williams. She comes across as kind and grounded. That's nice, especially for Hollywood types. I think that it is, you know, it can be hard to keep your center. We've seen and heard a lot of things, especially over the past couple of months. And I think in some ways there is some protection in not being the one, but still being of it. You know, in some ways, there are some mean things. People have been very cruel to Michelle over the years. But in other ways, there are things that you can do sometimes that allow you a little more, cover as far as out in the world. Maybe not much, but a little bit. But I'm glad that she's in a good space mentally. I know she talked about not being in that all the time. When we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580, news and sports on the other side.
She wanna do something like the girls in the films do. She wanna see the Oscar. What's a fluke? Is it really proper? Guaranteed, I can tell that I got one. Just waiting on the cameras to start rolling and let you. Kiss, you right below. You right below. You need to be.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. An effort is underway in Richmond, Virginia to save what's described as a piece of the fabric of the community. That's what former Virginia Delegate Viola Baskerville said at a rally to save the former Richmond Community Hospital in Jackson Ward. Plans are in place to demolish the 117-year-old building. Baskerville says the hospital staff labored to make sure the African-American community was treated with respect as patients. A former Tuskegee Airman feels honored after a 100th birthday celebration was held over the weekend in Lexington, Kentucky. WKYT reports Glendale Bennett received a Senate resolution in honor of his centennial by Senator Reggie Thomas. Lexington Mayor Linda Gorton gave Bennett the key to the city. Bennett trained with the African-American Airmen in Tuskegee, Alabama during World War II before serving in Europe. Bennett's secret to life is, quote, live good, love everybody, and do the thing that's right in life, end quote. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
The link between Los Angeles and 6 Southern California counties. MetroLink is your transportation link between the people and places you care about. Whichever link you're making, MetroLink will be your in-between. Visit metrolinktrains.com.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Recently, the Washington Post ran a major story which in sum reveals that racial discrimination in jury selection persists in America. Most often, the practice occurs through a legal tactic called peremptory challenge, which allows an attorney to strike a potential juror without having to state a reason. In the 1986 Batson Doctrine, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the use of peremptory challenges to exclude potential jurors solely based on their race violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. By the way, the late great Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall despised peremptory challenges. New data in the Washington Post story underscores that nearly 40 years after the Batson decision, the problem remains widespread. One study in the Deep South found that black jurors are being challenged and dismissed at double and triple the rates of other prospective jurors. Bottom line, it's racist, it's wrong, and it's pervasive. even as research shows that racially diverse juries spend more time deliberating, make fewer errors, and can result in fairer trials. One of the arguments in the Ninth Circuit appeal, brought by former LA City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas, is about violation of that Batson doctrine. In its case against MRT, the U.S. Attorney's Office struck black women from the jury pool based on demeanor and employment status, a clear violation of the law. A long list of high-profile black law professors, historians, and justice centers have now filed amicus briefs in support of MRT's position. But the irony of a black elected official who for more than 3 decades represented the best interests of his black constituents having black women voters struck from his jury pool is repugnant and morally wrong. So much for being judged by a jury of your peers. MRT's legal team argues correctly in its filing that given well-established law and legal principles set forth by the Supreme Court, Ninth Circuit, and state courts and legislatures, the Ninth Circuit should likewise reaffirm and clearly state that applying facially neutral justifications in discriminatory ways to target black women and other protected groups presumptively violates Batson. I couldn't agree more. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your comments.
Linking social justice and climate justice all year long.
We're unapologetically progressive.
KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
That was another way I would smoke once an hour. That didn't work either. All that would happen at some point of the day, I would end up doubling up. Other ways that I tried to quit was I stopped buying cigarettes totally. But if I took 3 puffs off of 15 friends, those didn't count because they weren't my cigarettes and they weren't full cigarettes. I went through a lot.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whatever you want, whatever you need, anything you want done, baby, I'll do it naturally. 'Cause I'm every woman, it's all in me. You can't tell. Mix a special groove.
gotta let Whitney ride a little bit, just a little bit. Come on, Whitney. Happy Women's International Month. All month long, celebrating women. I think Tuesday is the official day. It's also, if you're in California, make sure you're voting tomorrow. But happy International Women's Month. Listen, shout out to Whitney. Shout out to Chaka Khan. I remember this video. Whitney was pregnant in this video. She had her dancers, and then she had the little girl dancers. Can't remember the name of the group now. They were super cute. Shout out to Auntie Sherry, who managed them. And yeah, I'm Every Woman. It's All in Me. Classic song.
Shout out to the ladies. Shout out to the women. This is your month. So, I acknowledge you guys. I acknowledge you all. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my lady. Shout out to my sisters. Shout out to you, Jill Munroe.
Thank you, Andy.
You know what I'm saying? Holding it down. But I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't that Oprah's theme song at one point?
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay.
she had Whitney sing a version, because I think she used to kind of like the Cosby Show thing where she would change the theme song every season or every couple. Excuse me. So she had different musical openings, I think, for the seasons and whatever. So that would have been around 92, 93, because I feel like that was around the Bodyguard soundtrack or somewhere.
This song was on the Bodyguard soundtrack.
Okay, yeah. So 92, right? Yep. Okay, boom. Shout out to Urban Spinster. She says, I prefer the Shaka version, although Whitney did do it justice. I like them both. I feel like it was a proper salute. Shaka is Shaka, so really anyone doing any of her songs is kind of like, what? Because even I think about, even though we know Shaka hated Mary's version of Sweet Thing, and I think she did one other, but, I appreciated it at the time. Shaka, man. I'm just thinking about it. She just used to be in interviews. She was like, I don't like it. She didn't like Kanye West Through the Wire either. And she was not shy. She was like, nope, move it around. And, you appreciate her honesty. She's like, they'll never be me.
I mean, she's obviously sensitive about her work and other people utilizing it. But, like, in a lot of ways, shouldn't you kind of be like maybe a little bit happy that you have maybe the generation after you sampling it, tweaking it, or whatnot, and for those who do their research, they'll realize that, oh, this is a Shaka Khan sample. People will go back and actually listen to the music. That means more streams. That means more money.
I mean, she may feel differently now, but back then I don't think it equaled that. I think they thought sampling was stealing their hard work. She didn't like the sped up version of what Kanye did with Through the Wire and the chipmunk sound. She didn't like that at all. And I think she felt like these songs were, if they were not written by her, for her specifically, and so yeah, she was not having it. She does not like her work replicated. Maybe now the checks are different, and she might be a little bit more open and giving to that. But shout out to Miss Shaka Khan. Shout out to TKP704 in the chat, checking in from Charlotte, North Carolina. We appreciate you. Urban Spinster says Kanye bought Shaka out on an award show to sing Through the Fire, and she sounded horrible.
I remember that.
I mean, Miss Shaka,
Did she sabotage that performance?
I don't think so. I mean, we have her versus performance to point to know that sometimes, she may not be all the way in live performance shape for whatever reason. We'll just leave it at that. And it just depends on the night, I remember back in the day, someone talked about seeing Shaka Khan smoke a full pack of Newports backstage and go out and hit the stage and belt, like knock the house down or whatever. So I just think she's been in the business 40, 50 years now. Any given night, it could be something else, and we just respect our elders and appreciate what they gave to us and understand some nights they gonna turn into the get off my lawn people, and we just have to accept it with grace or something and keep that thing moving. Yeah, happy International Women's Month, y'all. Listen, when we come forward, is it time? Okay, no. Well, let's get into this story really quickly. First of all, we have to shout out Aisha and Steph Curry. They have announced baby number 4. Aisha announced it the other day on the cover of her magazine, Sweet July. If they have a boy, then they'll have a matching set. 2 boys, 2 girls. She looked lovely. And, Aisha also has a skincare line, so you can check that out, and her magazine. And they first met as teenagers in church, and when they were 15 and 14, lost contact and reconnected later on. And the rest has been, ever since. They got married in 2011. Riley was born in 2012. Can't believe she's, 12, about to be 13 soon, a teenager. Boy, time is moving right along, isn't it? So shout out to them and their expanding family. And, happy birthday, Draymond Green. Believe his birthday was yesterday or today. It's today, yeah. So shout out to the Pisces. I did not realize Draymond was a Pisces. That makes so much sense.
Speak on it.
Little sensitive water sign, kind of emotional, little fish, always spinning with the duality and the identity. So he's always spinning. Hard to get him to slow down. Fish are slippery,
Are you saying he has identity issues?
I'm not saying he has identity issues. Okay. I'm just saying that he can cycle through his moods rather quickly.
Understood.
Up, down, high, low, energy off, energy on. I'm sensitive. I'm not. You're sensitive.
Trigger.
I'm not. So just a little flippy. So I just realized that it all makes a little bit more sense now. Shout out to Draymond Green and all of that. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into what Jennifer Lopez revealed about her narcissistic mother that impacted her all the way up through as an adult. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you fallen behind on your water and power bill? LADWP has made paying your past due bills even easier. Sign up anytime online for Level Pay to get set monthly bills that include past due amounts. Or check out the special extended payment arrangements of up to 48 months to help pay down your bill. Visit ladwp.com/cares and sign up today. That's ladwp.com/cares.
Do you have both Medi-Cal and Medicare?
If so, the new LA Care plan called Medicare Plus can help you get the most out of your health plan for $0.
LA Care provides personalized service to Angelinos like us.
Plus, it gives us access to doctors and specialists across Los Angeles County.
For zero cost, we get access to full benefits.
From vision coverage,
in-home support services,
to prescription drug coverage,
and a quarterly over-the-counter allowance.
Plus personal equipment,
meal programs,
a gym membership,
and so much more.
For more than 25 years,
LA Care has provided Angelinos with access to quality health care at an affordable cost.
For our families,
our seniors,
our community,
it's a plus.
It's a plus
for all of us.
Hey LA, when you're trying to get where you need to go, like work, school, and what matters to you, Metro is here to get you there. With discounted fares and free pass programs, Metro is making public transportation affordable and easy to ride for everyone. Plan your trip at metro.net.
If you're looking for the most epic place on Earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes, and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking. Now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So we know J-Lo has her new documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. And in it, she talks about how her parents didn't give her enough love growing up. She described her mom as being narcissistic and the center of attention, life of the party type person. Interesting. And she says that her father was a busy man who was mainly absent pretty much throughout her childhood. She's also, before, this isn't new, described her mom as being a complicated woman with a lot of baggage. And she said that her mother always taught her to be independent and never rely on a man. But she also said that during her childhood, there were moments when she felt like her mom was a little abusive, And she also talked about how she felt ignored by her father. She said that she felt very ignored by him because he was always working nights and then he would sleep in the daytime, and she didn't feel like she had enough connection with him. But she said that they're all on good terms now. And she admitted that the lack of attention and love she received during her childhood has made her long for it throughout life. She said, when I was growing up, I was always looking for somebody to make me feel loved. I was a middle child, not the baby, not the firstborn, and you just get lost a little bit in between it all. And she said, in addition to that, she said that even in adulthood, she feels like she still at times has been attracted to abuse. And she said, when talking about past relationships, I was never in a relationship where I got beat up, thank God. But I've definitely been manhandled in a couple of unsavory things, rough and disrespectful. So, of course, as mentioned in the film, the scene where she might have been with a rough, disrespectful type, it wasn't a Diddy type person, it was the dancer type guy. But most people think she just sidestepped the Diddy thing. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense that if she didn't feel as though she received love as a child, she's going to seek that out and make that a priority in relationships and something that she's going to be looking for. Pretty Brown Mimi says, if J-Lo and Ben didn't tell us about their love back then, now 20 years later, she's doing a tell-all. Now, why? I think because she feels like, it's a fairy tale. You go through, you think you meet the one, you have this idealized relationship and the pink diamond, then it doesn't work out very, very publicly and embarrassing. You guys go about life, and 20 years later, you reconnect and are each other's inspiration and love of their lives. It's very inspirational, no? It's inspiring. It's what people want. And I think, people back in the day used to kind of low-key compare J-Lo to Elizabeth Taylor, who was very famous for not just, her acting career and luxury, but also her love life and her marriages and divorces. So I think that is something that Jennifer kind of identified with, and we know she loves love. We've seen her in a multitude of relationships and different things, and now she and Ben are back lock and step. She revealed that he kept all the love letters and emails that they sent to one another, even some that, well, I guess he's kept them from 2004 to 2018 while he was with Jennifer Garner. And so, do you guys think about that? Like, if you came across some emails or something like that, would you question why someone was hanging on to them? And does that automatically mean that they have residual feelings for the person? I don't know. I think I might be a little bothered, but then at the same time, I'm a person that likes to have receipts, and you might need those. I don't know what for. So I feel like to a degree I would understand, but mm, we shall see how it all works out with Ben and Jen. They seem to be, again, really locked in. He was really supportive in the documentary, especially about her directing. And, he said that she said that he gave her a book of all of the letters and emails their first Christmas back together. And one of the notes said Jennifer Lopez and Ben 2001 through 2010 and counting. So, maybe they are ultimately each other's biggest love. Like in 2010, though, he was very married to Jennifer Garner. They had 2 children and have been together for like 5 years. And I'm not sure if Jennifer was still with Mark Anthony at that time or if she moved on. But, publicly, they reconnected as friends in 2015. So, I don't know if that's a little jab at the ex or what's going on. But basically, they're saying they're meant to be. It was heaven sent. It was written in the stars. So I think it's sweet, a little romantic, what have you. Urban Spinster says, we want to hear about J-Lo's side to stepping in that club shooting. The victim has been talking for 24 years with no one believing her. Well, that is true. She released a video recently saying that when allegedly in the lawsuit that was filed, the producer Little Rod claimed that Diddy told him that he was the one responsible for the shooting that night. And the woman released a video on TikTok that has gone viral. It's around where she alluded to the fact that she has been saying from the beginning that she saw Diddy shoot her and no one else. She has never sort of wavered for that, but she said that the prosecution or anyone else cared about that. Pretty Brown Mimi says, wait a minute, they communicated while he was married to Jennifer Garner? Wow. Seems that way. It seems like at some point they did start to have some type of communication, some type of interaction. So I've always said, though, with relationships, really for both men and women, but I mean, women especially, they are already out of the door before they actually break up. And that goes for most people. There are signs, and, people try and work things out and pull it together, but there's always a sign. Fahima says, email's a little different from letters. They don't take as much space. Pretty Brown Mimi says, love letters are romantic, but emails not so much. Again, I have stuff like, I like knickknacks, things, so I keep stuff sometimes, but I can understand why some people might be like, that's a little shady, you keeping that. And I suppose there are situations where I would look at my significant other sideways like, why are you holding on to that? But maybe Jennifer didn't know. Maybe she didn't come across it. And, maybe that's good. It worked itself out in its own time. But interesting situation, to say the least. Again, meant to be, maybe. Listen, we have more trending topics and headlines to get into. So very much. Coming up, we're going to talk about Gwyneth Paltrow. In a recent interview, she discussed how her white female friends could learn a lot from her black female friends as far as self esteem and self confidence. And, there's a film that is coming out soon called the Historical Society of Magical Negroes. I might be getting it wrong. I'm going to double check the title before I come back. And we have interviews coming up with them later this week with the cast. But the concept of the film kind of touches on a little bit about what I feel sometimes when I hear this particular affirming from white women about black women. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Meek Mill and his Twitter fingers because they have not stopped since last week. He's like, yeah, keep going. And we will also discuss how social media almost came from a particular outlet because they had them scared that one of their favorite couples was breaking up. So we're going to get into all of that and more in hour 2. So interesting chat. I want to know from Fahima, Pretty Brown Mimi, and Urban Spinster, would you care if your significant other had emails or letters from an ex? And does it mean something more if it's actual letters and not emails? Let me know. And we'll get to that. Really, because someone said, Pretty Brown Mimi says letters are romantic, emails aren't. Fahima says email is a little different from letters. So, I'd like to hear. We'll talk about that on the other side. All of that and more. You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.